Hey everybody, have you considered starting a podcast? We here at Screwball highly recommend Podbean for getting your podcast out to a larger audience. Podbean has given us the ability to easily bring you Screwball each and every week on all of your favorite podcast services. Use the link podbean.com/screwball to sign up and save up to 35% annually. You can also use the link podbean.com/pro/screwball to sign up for a business subscription. Happy podcasting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host Mike Lepre with my co-host Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This is episode 58 of Screwball, and pretty slow news week overall. But we do have some big topics to talk about. We have another big no-hitter to talk about. So with that, let's just get into our first topic here of the news. Another no-hitter. Last week on April 14th, White Sox pitcher Carlos Rodon throws a no-hitter against the Cleveland Indians. Rodon was perfect through 8 1/3 innings until an unfortunate hit by pitch on catcher Roberto Perez. The White Sox ended up winning the game 8-0 and is the 306th no-hitter in baseball history, following Joe Musgrove's 305th no-hitter that we had last week. So we got 2 in a row. Carlos Rodon obviously had a hard road getting to this point after having Tommy John surgery, having a high ERA in 2020, and coming back after being cut earlier this year and rejoined the White Sox. So great story, Carlos Rodon. I know it's your boy. Always liked Carlos Rodon. He threw the no-hitter, really was right there for a perfect game. And I know that we were even talking about it before when we were online on PlayStation. We were talking about how there's a little bit of a perfect game drought. The last one we seen was in 2012, 2013, something like that.
Two of them same year.
Yeah, of course. So we almost got the perfect game, but I mean, still pitched very good that game, I'd say. So
Yeah.
I know it's your boy. So what do you think about
yeah,
this?
I love Carlos Rodon. He's had a tough, start to his career. Short time in the minors, came right up, pitched pretty well. Shoulder, pretty major shoulder surgery. Tommy John, as you mentioned, he got released. The White Sox signed him back to a better deal. I thought the Yankees should have jumped up on him when he was released because I thought the guy's potential was through the roof. Yeah, he's got some of the nastiest stuff. That slider is one of the best sliders, spin rate and all that, movement, stuff like that. He's always had one of the better ones. And his fastball, as we've seen in that game, he's sitting 93, 94, and by the end of the game, he was throwing 99.
Wow.
He's a really good pitcher. Still young. He's only 27, 28.
Oh, okay.
I have his rookie card. I think I might have 2 rookie cards. So he would have threw that perfect game. That would have been really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I was rooting for him, and I love Carlos Rodon. He's definitely one of my favorite players. So I was happy to see that. And I think we only had the stat was I seen somewhere on Twitter where there was only 6 no-hitters where the only batter that reached was one hit by pitch, and 2 of them happened in the last 5 days. It was Musgrove and Rodon.
Yeah.
And then I think there was another thing I seen on Twitter. I think it was the same group of people talking. I don't remember who it was, unfortunately, but because I like to give them their credit. But there's only been I think there was 2 no-hitters on. What was it, April 14th he threw the no-hitter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And both of them were by White Sox. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember who. It might have been Ryan Spader. I don't remember. But there's some pretty crazy stats. I know the White Sox have that's now they're the second most no-hitters in history. I think the Dodgers are the most with 23, and that was the 20th for the White Sox. So yeah, no-hitters are. There's always some crazy stats with no-hitters because there's been not a bunch, but a decent amount where you can start getting some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Definitely a lot more than perfect games. They're not quite as rare as perfect games, but they're still, over the long span of baseball, it's only been 306. It's still a pretty exclusive club, so.
That's still less than 2 seasons worth for one team.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking 140 years of baseball.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty cool that he did it. I know you watched it. I don't know if you watched quite the whole game, but I know you watched towards the end of it.
I watched the last couple innings, or I think 2 innings I really watched, or 3 innings. I think it was the last 3 innings, actually.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was cool to see, and like I said, we already got 2 this season, so that always makes, a season really unique, because, who knows what could happen later in the season. So, yeah, congrats to Carlos Rodon and the White Sox there. Number 2 here we got is the MLB upholds their 2-game suspension of Nick Castellanos. As we previously discussed about 2 weeks ago on the show, Castellanos was given a 2-game suspension for his, quote, aggressive actions, unquote. In an early game against the Diamondbacks, Castellanos he had appealed the suspension, allowing him to play for the last 2 weeks, but will ultimately serve the 2 games. So by the time you hear this, I'm sure he's already going to serve it. So he didn't end up having to serve it. I think it's there was really no point. I mean, I didn't think he. I mean, you don't like to see stuff like that, but I don't think he really did too much that really warranted a 2-game thing. But it is what it is, and he'll serve it, and the Reds will still be fine. I think they're first in the Central, so I mean, they're doing good. So, but the fiery attitude he's got is, I think, done a lot for that team. So, they might miss him for those 2 games, but he's only missing 2. So, 162 season, it's not gonna make that much of a difference.
Yeah, Castellanos, 2-game suspension. We talked about it before. We weren't really in much agreement with it, but it is what it is. So, next topic of news, we got Jay Bruce retired. He's one of the guys I really liked throughout his career. First round pick with the Reds. Really, he was a really good player. 319 home runs. He used to steal some bases. A couple-time All-Star. He was really a big part of the Reds for a while there. Playoff player. A very good playoff hitter. Over 800 OPS in the playoffs. It was 860 something. He was a very good player, a big clutch player. He was a guy I really liked, and I thought, especially early on in his career, I thought maybe this is a guy who can get maybe 500 home runs and decent amount of stolen bases and maybe get into the Hall of Fame. But as he got older, started breaking down a little bit, and then started jumping around on teams. Obviously, the home run number couldn't really quite get up there, but 319 is still a good number.
Yeah.
So he had a good career, and really liked Jay Bruce. So hoping him well, and I think we'll see him in baseball for a while. I think he'll coach somewhere because he really likes the game, and he's really liked by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's only 34. He only played 14 seasons, which is still great for you're in baseball for 14 seasons. That's great. He was a 3-time All-Star. He won 2 Silver Sluggers. Like you said, over 300 home runs. Nothing to sneeze at there. It's just he even cited himself. He's not playing up to the ability he thinks he can play, and like you said, he's got a life beyond playing baseball. He'll probably coach and even be a hitting coach, or he'll be somewhere with a team, I'm sure. So yeah, congrats to Jay Bruce on a career, and although obviously it didn't go out the way he probably wanted to, it's still a fantastic career that he should look back on proudly.
Yeah, and I know Joey Votto had some very kind words for him. They were very good friends. So Jay Bruce is well liked, and he'll be around. You'll see him around. Yeah, 34. So you could even see if he would had prolonged a couple more, what you would call a slugger season as he aged, he would have had 25, 30 home runs a couple more years. This is if he stayed a starter with a team.
Yeah.
He would have had a shot at over 400 and possibly 500, but obviously he broke down and things just didn't go that way for him, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, good for Jay Bruce, and I really liked him. I got his rookie card, so
that's cool.
Yeah. So next piece of news I got here is the Twins and their rather small COVID, I guess you can call it outbreak, but it's very small. It's pretty contained, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The hope is they play tomorrow, but they had postponed a couple of games with the Angels. But nothing too crazy. I don't think quite like the Nationals would add a bunch, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. The possibility of more postponements, like we seen with the A's game today. But I think tomorrow they should be back in action.
Yeah.
But it's something to keep an eye on, especially if you're a fantasy player or sports bettor or a fan of those teams. Obviously you got to take a note of when they're going to be postponed and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, and then the next thing I think is going to leads us into our main topic for the episode here is strikeouts are way up as they always are every year.
Mm-hmm.
But is baseball fun to watch?
It's always a big question for a lot of people.
And the MLB, as we always talk about, MLB in the commissioner's office, they try working and to get people to watch baseball. And funny enough, MLB Network, I believe it was, said that they had the last 14 days were the most viewed they've ever had. I think it was their games or their subscriptions and stuff like that. They broke their own records.
Mm-hmm.
So that means people are watching, but it doesn't mean people are having a ton of fun watching. And I thought what really got me to this point was seeing guys like David Wells say that they don't watch the game anymore, and a guy like Gary Sheffield say they don't watch the game anymore. A guy like Gary Sheffield was a great hitter, power hitter, never struck out though. Wasn't a striker guy, but a big power hitter.
Yeah.
And then a guy like David Wells was a pitcher in the same era. So you get both sides of it. It's not like, pitchers don't want to watch the game anymore because it's all home runs or something like that. No, it's both sides of the field.
Mm-hmm.
These are players not too long ago, and Sheffield should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And David Wells had a hell of a career.
Mm-hmm.
So players that obviously mean something to the game and their teams, to say that they don't watch the game anymore because strikeouts are way up, it's all analytical. It's all uppercut and exit velocity and launch angle. That's just not what people want to see.
Yeah.
Like, oh, home runs are cool, but 10 strikeouts to get to every one home run, it's not cool.
No.
It's not fun to watch a guy swing and miss. It's like, going to a tennis match and seeing the guy serve the ball over and he swing at it and miss every time.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, he hits an ace.
Yeah. So it's...
What's the fun in that?
Yeah.
It's... Or even people saying, watch football and, they don't like the low-scoring games anymore. There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
That's how baseball is. This ball's not in play. So
Sure.
you got to cut the strikeouts down and cut the, is it... And they have all these crazy rules. They want to move the mound back.
Yeah.
So you want to keep... You don't want pitchers to get hurt, but you want to move the mound back to make them think they have to throw the ball harder to get it there or do more to get the... That's not going to make... That's not the problem.
No.
You can't do that. Adjusting the shift where you have guys in the... if you want to do something like that, I guess that could help. That's not going to change the fact that the guy's still going to swing for a home run.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mindset that they got to get into, can't just be launch angle and home runs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So something has to change in the players themselves.
Yeah.
To get there. And I think we'll see it. I think we do see a change with guys like David Fletcher, guys like Nick Madrigal, Leloayu types, even more Jose Ramirez and guys like that who still do take offense to striking out and wanting to put the ball in play and are hitters, not just swingers or hitters.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see that crawl back, I think, but it's going to take a whole mind and a generation to really change it back to an exciting play.
Yeah.
'Cause right now it's just swing and miss and hit home runs, and that's just not that fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got... It's weird because you've got a new era of baseball coming in with the young guys, and they want to do the bat flip, and they want to, make the game have more flair, which is fine to a degree, and that gets people in the door because people like the flair and they like the instant gratification and the spectacle of it. But then you have, like you said, you have guys going up there and they strike. There's 1 through 9, they all strike out, and then they get a home run. And then the next guy strikes out, and then there's another home run. It's nice because the home run's always, chicks dig the long ball. But, I feel like people when they watch sports want that instant gratification. I think that a sport like football and basketball kind of grant that because there's always action going on. And just the nature of baseball is that there's not always action going on. So no matter what, you're not going to get everyone in the door. It just is what it is. So you got to figure out, well, how can we get more people in the door? Well, apparently, like you said with the statistics, they're getting people in the door. But are they sticking around? That's the number I want to see. Who's sticking around? Is it the younger people? Are they sticking around? Are they getting people of maybe non-white? Are they getting more, African-American kids in? Are they getting, are they seeing an uptick in Little League? People signing up to Little League? Things like this. Are they getting into the game? But to go back to, is baseball fun to watch? I mean, we kind of it's hard for us to say, and people that listen to this podcast say, because of course we think it's fun to watch. I love watching baseball. I think it's probably the best sport in my opinion, just about. I mean, that's obviously subjective. You could love curling. I don't care, But I think that the MLB has to do a better job of making rules that keep the game, but to kind of push people closer to it. Like I don't think the runner at second rule's getting more viewers. That just pisses off people that already watch baseball. But really, I that's what I think. You're kind of treating MLB players like they can't get hits and develop a run, or I guess hit a home run like anyone else does anymore. But I think that baseball is fun to watch. I think that no matter what you do, you can't get everyone in the door. It just is what it is. But I think that the MLB has to focus. It's like we even talked about last week. They have to shift their focus into things that really would make the viewing experience better, as opposed to pushing the mound back. Oh, let's add another base. Let's make the base bigger, or whatever that plan is. I mean, there's little things here and there you can do that will. I mean, robo-umps, like, yeah, that's an idea, but is it the right one? The decision making is questionable.
Was one that we really didn't.
Yeah.
Like.
That's what I mean. Like, they're focusing on the wrong things. I don't know where their mind is at. I don't know who's the yes men behind the scenes telling them this stuff. But it is surprising to me to hear guys like Gary Sheffield and David Wells say that they don't watch baseball anymore. Maybe something goes into it where they lived baseball so long, maybe they want to get away from it. But at their age, they've been away from it for so long, you'd think that they'd want to sit down and watch a Marlins game for Sheffield or a Yankee game for both of them, or I don't know. I don't understand. It's surprising.
Is the game fun? Sure, but there's not the excitement because that's what really the players and the way the teams around want. They don't want. It seems like they don't want the fun. They don't want the balls in play. They don't want the stolen base. They don't want that stuff. They want just a home run. Because they said, the pitchers are so good, we can't get 3-4 hits off them in a row. So you might as well hope for a walk or something and a home run. Or 2 good swings. I'd rather barrel one ball off. I only can barrel one ball up against Garrett Cole. Might as well be a home run.
Yeah.
That's they're hoping 3 guys can get 3 hits.
Sure.
Then if you watch games, you watch the game. We watched the one Rays Yankees game against Lucas Lucic, I think his name is, for the Yankees. I think the Rays had 5 hits that inning, and none of them were exit velocity were higher than 70 miles per hour. And they scored a run. Just putting the ball in play. And none of them were errors. They were all hits, bloop hits, and just finding the hole. That's exciting because the ball's in play. There's been people moving. What was it, Game 5 of the World Series? Game 4 of the World Series last year? The Rosarania falling down and everything going off the walls.
Yeah, I think it was like Game 5 or something.
It wasn't a home run that did that. It was a bloop hit up the middle. It wasn't a home run in 2001 with Luis Gonzalez. That was an exciting play. It wasn't a home run in the 2011 World Series to get to the David Freese moment. It was a ball off the wall. It's not always the home run. It's the memorable moment.
Yeah.
So, in Buckner, you can go all the time. Yes, there's home runs that are memorable. There's always going to be home runs that are memorable. Home run's a home run. Mm-hmm. That's just not everything. And that's what they need to, they just need to get the idea that a lot of fun things people don't, like, hitting runs is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Stealing bases is fun.
Yeah.
Special pickoff moves, especially at second base, that's fun. A triple I think is the most exciting thing in baseball. A perfectly executed relay is beautiful to watch. A great swing, opposite field, being able to beat somebody. He moves 2 steps here, you hit it 2 steps. That's awesome to watch. Being able to just hit a home run, sure, it's cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, really, he hit the ball 350 feet. Now I watch him jog around bases. That's not action.
Yeah.
Really, it's not action.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 seconds it was to see the ball go out, sure, that's action. But jogging around bases ain't fun. Sprinting around first base, heading to second base, heading to third base with a team trying to relay, throw the ball at third base, that's fun. Ronald Acuna, you see him sliding head first across the plate, that's exciting. Seeing a guy slowly walk back to the dugout because he swung and missed on 3 pitches is not fun.
No.
So what they can do, I don't know. There's some of these rules they come up with are crazy. I'm surprised they didn't do something where you only can use a certain amount of pitchers in a game. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised they haven't changed the game to the point where they just shorten the count. 2 strikes, you're out, and 3 balls, just walk.
Do you imagine?
That's packs more action.
Yeah.
Makes starting pitchers go longer because they don't throw as many pitches. I'm surprised they haven't pulled that.
Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they haven't done something like that. So I don't know what their plans are, but they got to get the game back to contact and stuff moving and hitting runs and just movement.
Yeah.
You can't just keep, kicking extra points, essentially, like football. You don't want to watch a whole game of extra points.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're seeing.
It's true. Yeah, what is it? The steal home is the most exciting play in baseball? Or the inside the park home run?
I mean, just because there's action.
Yeah.
Every position's moving.
Yep.
A triple. I mean, a relay throw is unbelievable to watch. Perfect relay, double relay, and the double plays and stuff like that. It's people moving around.
Yeah.
Just seeing a guy hit a ball is exciting for a couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to watch 10 seconds of him just jogging around a base.
Yeah.
You can look at the street and see someone jogged in the road. That's not much exciting. So I don't know. I think the idea of hitting the ball and doing all this stuff and hitting runs and leading and that's exciting.
Yeah, I think that they I think they do a bad job of marketing their players. I think that's another thing that they do that's bad. Is a lot of sports have superstars. You got LeBron James in basketball and you got guys like Tom Brady in football. You got these superstars that are loved by people. Like, I mean, they're idolized by people. You would love that to be Mike Trout. It looks like they want it to be Tatis now, and with Lindor in New York now, you'd like that, he's a good guy to be able to market, especially in the New York market. So I think that has something to do with it too. They don't market their guys right. If you get someone like that, and the kid sees that and go, hey, I like him, then you get more people in the door. You get families and you get more kids that want to play baseball and watch it, and it makes a difference, I think.
Yeah. I I mean, I think baseball is one of the hardest sports to market just because there's 162 games, and
Yeah.
there's games on a Tuesday afternoon, and there's games on a Wednesday afternoon, and there's games on Wednesday at 10 o'clock at night on the East Coast.
Absolutely.
So it's harder than just, oh, look, football, it's a Sunday, everyone's home, everyone's watching. Monday night, it's prime time, there's only 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's harder. Basketball, there's obviously more breaks, there's a lot of games and stuff, but, there's the Saturday games and the Sunday games and stuff like that. Baseball's on all the time, so it's hard to really be like, oh, well, come watch them today on May 17th.
Yeah.
When the season doesn't end until September 30th. So, yeah, it's harder to market, but the game itself, there has to be something done. Strikeouts are strikeouts, we get that, but there's no, it's almost like a pat on the back, like, hey, you did a good job, you struck out. Instead of being like, hey, you just struck out. It used to be like, hey, you just struck out. Like, the kid playing Little League cry because he struck out.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's almost like, hey, you know what? I like that uppercut, though. You almost hit that home run on that one ball you swung and missed on. That was really cool.
Yeah.
There's no excitement. It's got to be excitement. The ball has to be in play. There has to be movement. There's got to be people going places and things going on. That's what's exciting. So you can't move the mound and stuff like that and try stopping pitchers because that's just going to hurt people. It's just, I don't know. There's got to be a mindset.
Sure. Yeah.
Not just home runs are going to win you a bunch of games. And a home run never won you a World Series. No team's ever just mashed home runs to win a World Series. 1997 Indians was the team that could have done it, and they never did it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. The team that doesn't strike out seems to win, and the team that plays good defense. The Rays put the ball in play last year, and they played really good defense, and they ran the bases, and they were in the World Series.
Mm-hmm. Even with their team batting like a buck something without a Rosarena. So,
I don't know. So, I think the game's fun. But I understand why people say it's not fun and why people don't even watch it, because if you're not really into it with your team or fantasy or you got money involved in it, seeing a guy swing and miss a bunch of times it's not fun. You can go watch golf. At least he's not going to swing and miss.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's
a good point.
So
yeah, no, I see why people don't like it, and like I said, it is what it is. You're not going to get everyone in the door. It's not like football. Football you can just turn on a Sunday, and if you generally know sports, you can generally know what's going on. And you don't have to invest a lot of time into it.
There's always people running around.
Yeah.
Baseball is not always people running around. No matter what you do, there's not every pitch is not going to be someone running around.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have more action. I don't think baseball can do too much to change that unless they really change the game, which I don't think is a good idea.
No.
But they can really, the shift thing is maybe an idea where you can work on that. Maybe only give them a certain amount of shifts per game.
Yeah.
Larger shifts. There's stuff that you could do that doesn't change the game, the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think people would be mad at. But moving the mound that's changing the entire game. That's like changing the count.
Mm-hmm.
That changes the entire game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I think we just need to get the players, the LeMayhews and the Fletchers and the Madrigals and those guys in the door and let them slap the ball around a little bit and have some fun.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. You want to see guys, getting hits and getting on base, and it doesn't just take striking out all the time to be really good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and there's players out there that have a lot of flair and have a lot of fun and let the kids play thing. We have our problems with that, but it is in some cases is a move in the right direction. So
and people are going to strike out.
Yeah,
you're going to have your power hitters. You're going to have your Stanton, your Adam Dunn, your Reggie Jackson. You're going to strike out. They're strikeout guys. It happens, but not everybody has to just strike out all the time. And I think there's better pitchers all around, more relievers. That's going to always make more strikeouts. That's going to happen. Strikeouts are going to be up compared to back then. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. The other day, I think the Rockies lost to the Mets in a 7-inning doubleheader, 21 outs, 17 of them were strikeouts. 4 balls were put in play by the Rockies.
Jesus.
4.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's not good.
No.
That doesn't have to happen.
But to answer the question, yes, I think baseball's fun. It's just.
Yes. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I'll go to every game.
Yeah.
I could. So.
But you just got to get more people in the door and do what you can with the game, because you're not going to change the game, or at least you shouldn't. God knows what they do. But to flip it to a little bit more of a dire topic.
That's not fun.
That's not fun, at least to us. Maybe if you're a Red Sox fan or a Rays fan, you're definitely having fun.
All 3 of them.
Yeah. Is it time to hit the panic button on the Yankees? The Yankees currently have the worst record in the American League at 5-10, failing to string together more than 2 wins in a row all season, and currently in the midst of a 5-game losing streak. They have notable struggles in all 3 main aspects of the game: offense, defense, and starting pitching. Is this a sign of things to come, or is it merely early season rust? Now, we talked personally about this for a while. We think they're embarrassing right now. But do you overall think that this is just the Yankees again? I think I know the answer already, but for the viewers or for listeners, is this just the Yankees? This is their 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 team. This is just how they play, and they're going to end up all right, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs? Or do you think that they're really going to play bad? Do you think that this is really...
I don't know. I think there's too much talent for them to just not be at least in the playoffs and one of the better teams. But again, you're not going to win the World Series on hitting just home runs. If the '97 Indians could do it with Manny Ramirez and Jim Thome and Albert Bell and the Alomars and Kenny Lofton and Vizquel, I can keep going. The Yankees aren't going to do it because Manny Ramirez at 23 years old is not on that team. Jim Thome and Albert Bell and guys like that are not on the Yankees. You're never going to compare any of those guys to them. So if they couldn't do it, you're not going to do it. You have to play defense. That's part of the game. They don't do that. They don't run the bases well. They're just. I think they'll be in the playoffs. I just don't see a home run team, just home runs and striking out all that much, is going to win a World Series. So we're just going to keep having the same team over and over again. So I don't think it's time to really, really bear right down and get rid of everybody and panic completely because the team's eventually going to be good.
Mm.
But are they ever going to win by just doing this? Probably not. And I don't know. I don't like Aaron Boone just patting everybody on the back. Doesn't say nothing. Sometimes you got to go in there and smack a water cooler around and push someone down and do everything else and just and show that you're not good. You're not good,
mm-hmm.
and it's time to be better.
Mm.
So put the ball in play, change your swing, make contact, bunt. You're not hitting bunt against a shift. There's stuff to do. So time to completely panic on the Yankees? No, but if you're in our area of the United States and you're watching baseball, you're never going to watch another game if you just watched any of those first 15 Yankee games. That's not fun.
Yeah.
And that goes right what we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing good about anything that they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I agree.
Very disappointed. There's not many guys on that Yankees team that I even like. Mayhew's a maniac. I love him. The other idiots on the team I don't understand. So, especially the guy in right field. I don't see... I can't even say that he plays the defense anymore because he doesn't even try out there. He doesn't want to get hurt or something. It'd be better off if he got hurt. But I don't know. I don't know with the Yankees. I'll watch them. I watched it last Friday. I watched that was the worst. That was terrible.
That was one of the worst losses I ever seen.
There's only been a few times that I've ever watched, like I said, my sports team where I was just unbelievably disappointed and just disgusted. But continue to watch. And the Yankees, it's been twice. There's a time I went to the Orioles game and they made like 18 errors.
Yeah.
And it was that game. And then, of course, I had 2 games with the Raiders, as you guys can imagine, that I watched and just was like, this is disgusting. But I won't turn it off. It's like a train wreck. Can't look away.
Yeah.
And I watched it and just disgust with the way the team is ran and handled and how they play. So we'll see. But if you're looking at like, that's not going to be good this year, I think they'll be all right and they'll be in the playoffs. But if they're going to play like this, they're not going to do nothing.
No.
Unless they have 6, 7 guys hot, unbelievably hot going into the playoffs, because then you're just going to mash a couple home runs and maybe get to the World Series, but it's just not going to last.
Yeah. And it's like I said to you before we recorded, overall I'm not concerned. Well, I'm concerned. I have my problems with them, of course. But I'm not, for a 162-game season, I'm not concerned about them getting in the playoffs or anything. They're not going to finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th. In the worst case, maybe 3rd, maybe worst case. But they're still just too good. And they're all collectively hitting so bad that with the talent they have, it just can't last. But it's, and we agree on this. It's just a harbor, of things to come, that the playoffs are just going to come again, and they'll probably be in the division series or the championship series or hell, even the World Series, and they'll just do this again, where they get into this streak where no one hits, they strike out a lot, and it's going to end in disappointment again, and they'll get to that point, and it'll keep stringing this team along for Cashman because they're getting that close and they're that good, because they are talented, but they're just not, they don't have the diversity in their lineup to just, and I guess the upper brass doesn't have the balls to call themselves an all-analytic team or not an analytic team. They want to be analytical, but they don't. So they don't call themselves in the middle. They want to go all in, but they don't. We're Yankee fans, so we watch the team. We just about watch every game, I'd say, that we can. So maybe we're a little hyper, into them. And maybe if you're a fan of the Royals and you're just watching from afar, you're like, they'll be okay. But we're not used to the 5-10 Yankees. They have their issues, but they've always at least they win 100 games somehow.
Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not trying to be, one of those fair weather fans or something, but they just don't look like they're even good.
Yeah, like if you watch them,
that's just not how you're supposed to play.
They're a bad 5-10.
Like they're just not. They just don't look good. They don't have, as I said before, they don't have. I think they have one hitter on the team. That's LeMahieu. He's a hitter.
Mm-hmm.
The other guys are all a bunch of guys who are good swingers, where they just swing and swing and swing and hope they hit it. And sometimes they hit it, and sometimes they hit home runs, and their stats end up okay. That's a swinger. But there's a guy who's a hitter is LeMahieu. He's going to hit 300. He's going to hit the ball this way. He's going to hit behind runners. He can hit and run. He can, put the ball in play. That's a hitter. It's a true hitter. A swinger is a guy who just swings all the time and hopes he hits a couple home runs. Same concept as a pitcher. There's a pitcher and there's a thrower. Some guys just throw really hard and have no clue what they're doing. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're not. And then there's some guys who are like pitchers who can throw hard, can just change his game. Greg Maddux, a guy like that who just, okay, this pitch is working, this pitch isn't. I'm going to pinpoint, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. That's a pitcher. Some guys just throw 105 and they're like, okay, I'm just going to throw it by everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm good and sometimes I'm not. So the Yankees themselves need to turn themselves at times to hitters. And the game itself, to bring it all together, you got to get more hitters, less swingers, and more, the concept of getting more pitchers, not throwers, more hitters, not swingers.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to just keep going on this because, there's more than just the Yankees in the league, but it is a big thing going on. I've seen it on every sports news outlet that talk about the Yankees, so I thought it was relevant to bring up, and I think overall they'll probably end up winning the division, or at least I would assume get a wild card, and they'll get out of this, and I'm sure they'll rattle off 5 or 10 in a row at some point, and fans will be like, oh, they're the best, see? We knew, and then they'll just flip because the Yankee fans tend to do that. So, but we'll see. We got to keep an eye on them, and who knows? Maybe this is finally a wake up call to really change something. So, we'll see what happens. But with that, we'll lead into our who's doing the best right now, and then to our hot and cold stuff. So, who's doing the best right now for the millionth week in a row? It's the Dodgers with the best record in the league. Dating back to last season, I want to find the episode where they weren't, but they have the best record at 13-3. The Red Sox have the second best record in the league, and they have the best record in the AL at 11-6 after today's win. They played at like 11:30 or something, so they've been done. Dodgers own the best run differential in the league with +38, and the lowly Tigers own the worst run differential at -28. So, Dodgers obviously. Hot on top again. I think they just came off a series win with the Padres, a very fiery series. I know you'll get into some of the stuff here. Red Sox are hitting unbelievably. This is also a reason to maybe not hit the panic button on the Yankees yet, is because you have the Red Sox with the best record in the AL, and not for nothing, but they can't pitch over a full season. Not to discredit their hitting is great. I always said their hitting was good, and they're really gelling right now. But it's still early. A 13-3 record for the Dodgers is unbelievable. That's very good. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the season. I know you got some hot and cold teams to talk about. I think I already know one of the cold teams for sure. So so why don't you get into that?
So some of the hot teams here are the other team in New York, the Mets, and the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Royals, the good old Oakland A's, and the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. And the A's, people were ready to go crazy there. They were 1-7, and now they've won, I think, 8 or 9 in a row, and I think they're a game out of first place. So,
yep,
don't worry about that.
We knew that.
Yeah, it's the A's, what they do. So, but they, hit the ball, play the game the right way. So that's to worry about.
Sure.
A couple of cold teams. The other side of New York, the Yankees are extremely terrible right now. The Colorado Rockies are actually a game worse or 2 worse. So that's really not good at all.
No.
The Twins are not playing that great. The Astros, especially with some of the guys going on the COVID list, not playing good. And the Cubs, I think, are actually the worst hitting team in baseball right now. And
yeah.
I think there's not a guy on that team, I don't think, that's hitting over 200, I think, for the season. Like a starter. I'm pretty sure. I think maybe Rizzo after yesterday's game, maybe he's hitting. But they're like a team average, like 1. It was like 160. It was like 160 something. It was terrible.
Yeah.
They're just not hitting the ball,
And
that's their thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Yankees, but that's their thing.
And they do have talent. This is going on 2 years now, maybe even 3. I mean, it's concerning for Cubs fans, and they're getting to contract years, these guys. So
yeah, so that's some hot and cold teams there. So
sure. So then let's get into who's hot and who's not. We'll get into the players now. We got obviously some crossover here with the hot players. You'll get into the pitchers, but my hitters that I got for this week are obviously number 1, Ronald Acuna Jr., winning player of the week in the NL. He batted .375 in the last week with a .792 slugging and a .1256 OPS. He's just been absolutely unbelievable. He's been unbelievable to watch. Not even just the stat card does this guy justice. He's a fun player to watch. He's got stupid strength. If you look at him, you wouldn't really think it, but he's got unbelievable strength, speed. He's the real deal. He's a full package guy, and he's a guy that should maybe thinking about being a star of the game.
And on my fantasy team.
Yeah. So he was 2nd overall in our league. So obviously could have gone 1st overall for sure.
That was a steal of the draft.
Yeah. For real. And that's saying over Mike Trout. So that's big, high company. Number 2, I have Mitch Haniger, batting a .429 over the last week with a .786 slugging and a .1234 OPS. So hitting very well, having a good slugging. Maybe a name you don't see all that often on the list.
A great comeback, too, for him.
Yeah.
Multiple years. He's a really good talented player. Just has a bunch of different injuries and some serious ones and one crazy one I'm not going to go into. But, yeah, good to see him back and playing well. And somehow the Mariners in first place out there.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. But
without Carl Lewis.
Yeah,
and
imagine.
Kelenic.
Yeah, and Julio Rodriguez, the other guy? I don't know how
and
far.
James Paxton.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on out there.
Yeah. You got to figure that they'll come back down, but
almost double the wins of the Yankees, and I don't know, not nowhere near the same talent.
Yeah, like not even close, really.
Not even close.
Yeah,
so that's just crazy. That's the game, though.
Yeah, that's baseball. Number 3 here, I got Brandon Nimmo, batting .476 on the week, only a .476 slugging and a .998 OPS, but hitting. Like we talked about, hitting the baseball, not just
hustle.
Yeah. So he's having a good week, and then who I thought was having quietly probably the best week is Gene Segura here, batting .550 on the week with an .850 slugging, a .1421 OPS. No one saying anything about him. I did think about picking him up in fantasy because I have Dylan Moore, and golly, he can't hit. He should be on this cold list, but I don't have him here. And then my 5th guy here for the hot list kind of covers basically the Red Sox as a whole, but Alex Verdugo. Batting .393 on the week with a .643 slugging and a .1080 OPS. I could have put him on here. I could have put JD Martinez. I could have put Xander Bogaerts. I could. Any of them are interchangeable there because the Red Sox are just all hitting like that at once right now. So,
yeah.
But Alex Verdugo a little bit lesser of a talent, or not lesser of a talent, but a lesser star than Bogaerts and JD Martinez. You kind of expect that out of those guys. But Verdugo kind of came over. Betts leaves, goes to LA. They get Verdugo. It's like, oh, here we go. But I think, and I said this, he's a talented guy. I know he had injury problems, but he's a talented player. This, obviously, you get hitting like this, it's even better. But, I'm glad that, Red Sox fans are seeing the talent they got. And he was even good last season. So that's my hot guys.
Yeah, so a couple of the high hitters that I have here that you didn't mention. Josh Harrison, Mike's comeback player of the year guy.
Yes.
He's betting almost 500. Joey Votto started off pretty cold. He was hitting the ball well, just it wasn't turning into much. But he's going now. He had to turn triple play the other day, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, a weird one.
Yeah, Jazz Chisholm, guy who I believe I have a signed card of his. He's been doing great.
Yeah.
What was the reason they beat the Mets? Beat DeGrom, hit the home run.
Mm-hmm.
Crushed one too. Matt Olson.
Yeah.
I think over 400 his last 7 days. 3 home runs, I believe. And Anthony Rizzo, after yesterday's performance, really boosted his numbers up for the last 7 days. He's been hitting pretty well.
Yeah.
So there's a few guys there that that you didn't mention that I just wanted to throw out there.
Mm-hmm. You got pitchers too, or this week, or
yeah.
Obviously Rodon is.
Yeah. I got a few pitchers here, like I always do. I got DeGrom, obviously.
Yeah.
He's doing fine with his personal stats, other than the win column. One quick thing with him, though, I seem like I always talk about DeGrom. I get a feeling sometimes that he pitches to his competition. I really do get a feeling like that. If it's 0-0, he will keep it 0-0. If his team did give him 4 runs, he'll give up 3 runs. I feel like that he does that.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
I don't have the stats, Mets fans, whatever you want to say. I don't really care. Still don't believe he should have won 2 Cy Youngs either. You got to win games. I'll stand up and down for that. But great pitcher. But I do feel like he does that at times.
I know what you mean. I kind of thought
Like,
the same thing.
Man, they got to give him some run support. Give him 3 runs. Okay, let me give up 2 or 3. It's like,
yeah. Let's make it close again.
Yeah,
Get
so
the blood
I feel like
pumping.
he does that at times. Could just be coincidental, but whatever. But anyway, to get some more pitchers, Carlos Rodon, of course, Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
Brewers pitching great.
Yeah.
Which is the thing we talked about. They didn't have pitching. They had young guys to see if they could turn around. Their pitching has been great this year.
Yeah.
I don't see it holding up, but we'll see. Tyler Glass now, Cy Young pick. So hopefully that keeps going. John Means, he's, doesn't throw hard, just gets the job done. So good for him. And Matthew Boyd back.
Yeah.
After last year's struggles, he seems to be back to the way he was. So these are a couple guys who are really, really pitching the ball well.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously Glass now. You kind of expect that. DeGrom. Kind of expect that. And Rodon, win player of the week, having the no-hitter. Awesome.
Yeah. When drafted, you expected that all the time.
Yeah.
But after the story and stuff he's dealt with, it's great to see him back and doing his thing.
Sure. Now moving on to the cold players. Number 1 here, I got Austin Meadows, batting a .091 average, .091 slugging, .35 OPS,
Well aware.
350 OPS. Yeah, I figured you knew.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a very talented guy, so just a bad week, I guess. Right behind him at number 2, Ramon Laureano, batting 100 over last week with a 200 slugging and a 382 OPS. I believe it was you that, you told me the stolen bases have been off the charts with him, but I guess
he has
just
8 already.
Yeah.
He had more than I think he was like second. He could be the second in teams stolen bases. I think there's only 1, maybe 2 teams that have more stolen bases as a team than he has individually.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty sure he was hitting well before this, so I think this is just an off week.
Just a little bit off.
Yeah. Then at number 3, I have Cesar Hernandez, batting 136 over the last week, 136 slugging, 406 OPS. A guy that I think goes a little bit under the radar, actually a really good hitter, really good average guy. A little surprising to see him on the list.
Consistent, really 280 every year, 270, 280 every year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he goes underappreciated, so like I said, a little surprising. Number 4, I have Marcus Semien, batting 130 over the last week, 261 slugging, 453 OPS. If I'm not mistaken, I actually think he came out of the gate pretty hot. He was hitting actually pretty well after coming off of a pretty rough year for the A's and didn't do him any favors with free agency and stuff like that. So a guy that I suspect to have overall a good year, but last week I'm pretty sure the Blue Jays as a whole, they lost like 5 in a row. They didn't hit good for a while, except for Vlad. But I think they did have some hitting woes, so I guess that kind of falls into that. And number 5, I have Nick Ahmed. He was the worst I've seen on the list, so I had to put him on here. .056 average, .056 slugging, a 1.6 or .161 OPS. Just terrible. Probably one for like, I don't even know, 1 for 20 or 1
15?
for something like that. So just not great. Not anything against Nick Ahmed, because it's not like you expect Nick Ahmed to hit 300, but geez, hopefully gets off the schneid here and gets going.
Yeah. A couple guys I want to throw out there. Josh Bell, as I am well aware of. Again, Elvis Andrus, Matt Carpenter has really not been good. Rognan Odor.
There's like 2 hits.
That's an awful defense right now too. So that's to even go worse than that. Eugenio Suarez, hitting well, and Santander, as Mike's well aware,
dropped his ass.
Guys who are really just not hitting the ball well right now over the last 7 games, which could be 10, 15, 16, 20 at bats, but still that's not a good run.
No.
Some cold pitchers, which pitchers definitely have a hard time overcoming.
Yeah.
Bad outings. I mean, starters not as much, but a hitter, you can go 1 for 20 and it doesn't really, the whole grand scheme of things, you have 600 at bats. Like a bullpen guy, he has 1 bad outing. He takes July till he catches up. But pitchers definitely, shows off more. But some cold pitchers, Jake Odorizzi, is getting hammered all year, but especially recently. Carlos Martinez, another one not pitching well at all.
Yeah.
Randy Dubnak getting beat up. Patrick Corbin's getting lit up.
Yeah.
Lit up.
Yeah, I know. Bad.
Real bad. I think he has over 22 ERA for the year, I believe. Kyle Hendricks, we've seen get 4 home runs to the Braves yesterday in the first inning. Not pitching well.
Not great.
And Strasburg not pitching well. And I'll talk about him here pretty shortly.
Surprise, surprise.
But yeah, he's not pitching well. So yeah, it's some relatively big names there not doing well pitching wise.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with some of them and if they can overcome some of that.
Yeah, like you said, some surprising names on there, some big names. But, obviously, a guy like Jake Odorizzi, you wonder, that's one you kind of got to be a little worried about. But
late signing.
Yeah.
That always seems to be a big reason why some of these guys come off to bad starts when they sign late in spring training.
Yeah. So, I mean, that doesn't really surprise me. Guys like, Corbin definitely surprised me because he is good. He's very talented. Strasburg, I suspect, not pitching well in relation to what you're about to talk about. Things happen this season. It's still outstandingly early. It's April 19th as we're recording this. So, I mean, it's there's concerns and there's problems that you have to address. But overall, I don't think I've looked at anyone and been like, wow, you're going to have a bad season. There's nothing like that yet. So,
well, that's someone for the Yankees. But
well, I mean, yeah. They're a special breed right now, so.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I know you got some other stuff, but that's all I got for the hot and cold stuff and all that.
Yeah. The last thing I always like to go into is just some injury, concerns or notes here. Acuna left yesterday's game with an abdominal strain. He's considered day to day right now. The MRI was, I guess, pretty positive because he's only day to day. Again, I'm well aware of his information. Again, here's where we talk about Strasburg. Again, he went on the IL with a shoulder injury. That's Strasburg. He's always hurt.
Yep.
That's what I was when he signed the contract. Was worried about with them is because he's an injury. He's an injury guy.
Yeah.
Just seems to be that way. So and mostly with the arm. Or elbow, or hands, or finger. So it's concerning.
Yeah, sure.
Lance Lynn puts a complete game shutout. Now he has a trap injury, so he's on the IL. Max Fried, Braves are beat up right now. He's on the IL.
He was getting beat up.
Yeah, Starlin Marte, they thought it was an oblique. They found out he had a fractured or a cracked rib.
Oh wow.
So he's on the IL now. Christian Yelich was put on the IL, I believe, with back tightness. Nothing too serious there, just big name that they're missing.
He always kind of had back stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, he always seems to have a back stiffness here or there, but they put him on the IL early in the season, just kind of keep him healthy.
Yep.
And then a couple things on the good side of things. You'll see Ohtani. He's supposed to pitch tomorrow, Tuesday, April 20th. He's supposed to be back on the mound for the first time since he got, I guess, taken out at the plate. And he's still hitting, and he's still hitting great.
Yeah.
But he'll be back on the mound, so that's exciting, especially for the Angels. Tim Anderson's back, again, well aware, playing very good off the IL.
Yeah.
And J.D. Davis is back for the Mets, one of their better hitters, and a guy that the Mets are gonna Daniel Murphy him, great hitter, and they just don't seem like they want to play him or find a spot for him, and they always seem to want to get rid of him, even though he's one of their better hitters.
Sure.
So J.D. Davis is back for them. So some big names going on the IL and some big names coming off the IL. So it's kind of how it goes all year.
Yeah, like I said, thankfully this week again, no big maybe season ending or anything like that injury. You never like to see that stuff. Injuries happen throughout the year. You get a little, you get a little tight, in the quad, or you get a little, like what was it? Acuna was a mild abdominal strain. I mean, things happen.
Head first, and I think just the belt maybe pushed in. And I think that seemed like that was more of the issue, but
yeah,
you never really know. It just could be bad luck and coincidental, but
yeah. Well, when you play like him, he plays very,
exciting
and energetic, and
fast.
he's out there to play like it's going to be the last time he ever plays. So it doesn't surprise you when a guy plays like that. So like I said, injuries happen, things happen. If they're on the 10-day IL, they come off, they play, the rest of the season. Then that's what you want to see. So just even as a general baseball fan, unless you really can't stand the guy, but
That's why I think it was a great thing for them to also cut down the IL from 15 to 10 days, because then you could put guys on for a shorter period of time.
Yeah, just make sure they're all right. If they have like back tightness, you call someone up for 10 days, they're good. They come off and you're back on.
Yeah.
So
10 days usually ends up being 8 or 9 games maybe, instead of 15 days. 15 days that's half a month.
Yeah.
That's 14, 13, 14 games. That's a long time.
Yeah, it gives you more recovery time, but yeah, like you said,
it locks you in.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but that's pretty much all I got there. The last bit is our trivia question here, and I think this goes pretty well with what's going on, and that's the month is April. So who has the most home runs in a single April in MLB history? This is not career April. This is just a single season of April baseball. Who has the most home runs? Mike was naming some relatively big names, and he was in the ballpark, but couldn't quite get it. And it's actually a tie. The number is 14. And the first one to do it was Pujols, 2006, when he was just downright disgusting. And the second one to do it, oddly enough, was the next year, 2007, A-Rod, 14. I remember that year. Remember him just going off the walls because I believe the year before struggled in the postseason a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
that was
people
when...
had no, what's he gonna do? And then he came out, had 14 home runs in April, and they're like, all right.
Yeah.
So the answer for the most home runs in a single April is 14, and it's a tie between 2006 Pujols and 2007 A-Rod.
Yeah, I should have known because Pujols in 06, obviously they went to the World Series that year. I think they won it that year, right? The Cardinals in 06.
Yeah,
Was that the year they went against the Tigers?
I believe that. Yeah, but Scott Rowland and Jim Edmonds and.
Yeah, so I think they won it that year, so that makes sense. And then, the next year with A-Rod, I think he had like 50 home runs that year, and he won an MVP, so...
Yeah, well, you're hitting 14 a month.
Yeah.
Puts you in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, so I should have known, especially with Pujols. I really should have guessed that one. But good names. I mean, those are big guys, so that doesn't really surprise you to hit that many in April,
Yeah.
It's not like, Daniel Murphy came out, and hit 14 in 1 month, you know.
Yeah. What I seen when I was looking this up too was always remind me of the most home runs I believe hit in a single month, and that was that year that Sosa and McGuire were chasing each other. I think Sosa was like June or July. He had 20 in a month. That's
that's like almost a home run a day. That's like insane.
That's just about. It's like 0.8 home run, 0.9 home run a day.
Yeah,
like that's 20 in 1 month. You do that twice, you're 40 home runs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In 2 months.
Yeah, you hit 20 in 1 month. You can hit like 5 for the next, whatever. What's it, 6 month season, right? Give or take.
Mm-hmm.
5 month season. You hit 20 in 1 month. You hit 5 the rest. I mean, you're hitting 30, 40 home runs.
Coming into the All-Star break with 100 100 RBIs and like.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So that always makes me giggle because 20 home runs in a month. I mean, 14 home runs in a month is awesome.
Yeah.
But 20.
That's why they save baseball.
That's why they hit 70 home runs or 60 home runs.
Yeah. Sure.
Because they hit 20 in 1 month.
Yeah, they were something else. They really were. But anyway, that's kind of all I got for this episode. Baseball is fun, I think.
And LB just shows out.
Yeah, we can play it tomorrow. Well, you'll play it a little bit. Yeah. You'll at least try a little bit.
Yeah, so finally it's out. So, let's go nuts and Xbox people and whatever. Everybody go play it because it's one of the best games, one of the best sports games. It's the best baseball game. So go play it.
And if you have Xbox and you have Xbox Game Pass, there's no excuse to not play it. It's free. Go play it. Download it and play it. Try it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So.
Let me know when you're playing because I'll sauce you. Because Xbox people haven't played.
Yeah, it's true. We got to teach them.
I don't want to go play against PlayStation guys like Mike with the zone hitting because he's crazy. But the Xbox people, I'll sauce you up and down the field. So, so excited to play it. So finally that's out, and warm weather's coming, and we're gonna try watching some fun baseball. Just if that one New York team could just learn something, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully they get going. But yeah, that's all I got. So if you want, we'll wrap this up and get out of here.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. You can catch this podcast on Google Podcasts as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can listen on our regularly updated YouTube channel as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.